Welcome, everybody. We are here. We're back. Another episode of Cryptricks. I've been thinking, and I want to welcome you all for taking the time to come back here, sit down, and talk about cool things and learn some things. I think that's it's a great time to just sit back and talk about a subject that I have a lot of fun talking about every week, and that's cryptocurrency. And I promised you that once a week I would try to get my friend Paul here. We've been breaking down cryptocurrency and its origins and where we think it's going to go and how it's going to probably change the future of all of our lives, and is actually changing the future of all our lives actually as we speak. And so I think it's a great topic. I really enjoy learning about it, find it a little bit of confusing, as I've said before, but the more you look into it, the more people explain it to you, it actually does start to make sense. So I think it's a great topic. And before I bring Paul in, I just want to let everybody know that last night we did a great interview with Greg Fernandez Jr. on the Bohemian Grove. It was a super cool interview to do. I learned so much about that Bohemian Club that I never knew. And I actually, things I thought that I did know that he actually corrected. So it was a really cool interview. So if you're into that kind of thing and you want to learn more about the Grove, definitely go and check that out. I just posted it last night, and I think you'll really enjoy it. But enough of babbling about that. I want to bring in my guest. Let's bring him in. How are you doing today, Paul? Welcome back to my crypt. I'm glad that you could come here for another episode. I've been looking forward to it all week.
Yeah, pretty good. How are you
Oh,
doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. And I wanted to bring up, this is a topic that I've been wanting to talk to you about, and as we know, each week we kind of get a little bit more in depth about different topics of cryptocurrency. We're trying to walk people through this a little bit at a time. And another topic that I thought would be really cool would be to talk about how people can make, once they do get some cryptocurrency, how they can start letting in the cryptocurrency work for them. And basically, forgive me, I don't know all the terminology yet, so you're going to have to kind of walk me through this. I don't know a lot, admittedly, but I do know that you can actually mine cryptocurrency. We kind of touched on that. I know that you can stake cryptocurrency, and I just think you should explain that to people, the difference between the two. So why don't you first explain basically what mining is and all of the good stuff that comes along with that, and we'll just kind of walk our way through it here.
Yeah, sure. So you're right. I mean, there's a lot of ways to passively generate income from the token economy. And one of those ways is through mining or staking, among other things. But definitely we could talk about mining and staking. So is there anything in particular you want to know about mining, or you just
Well,
want me to
I
explain
Yeah, there is. I mean, I've talked to people, and like people that don't know a lot about cryptocurrency, and they think that they can just. They always ask me like if they want to mine Bitcoin or one of the bigger coins like Ethereum and stuff like that. I'm not even sure if you can mine Ethereum. You may have to correct me up, but let's use Bitcoin for an example. They think that they can just take their laptop, their everyday laptop that they're probably watching this on right now, and just start mining for Bitcoin. And I try to explain to them the best I can in my very limited vocabulary that it's not quite that easy. So can you explain to people what goes into mining? And, yes, you can mine. I do know for the smaller coins that are not as known, that's probably a lot easier to mine those. So maybe you can explain what goes in, what you need to mine, and some of the pitfalls, like if you're going to be trying to mine something like Bitcoin or something like, and versus mining the ones that are less known and easier to find.
Right. Okay. So in a previous episode, we kind of explained the whole concept of mining, how you can kind of compare it to, I guess, like a physical mine.
Mm-hmm.
Again, no, they're not using physical machinery aside from like a computer or a graphics card. In Bitcoin's case or Litecoin, the protocols are proof of work. That means basically that some computational effort has gone into solving, in Bitcoin's case, a mathematical problem. And the person who solves that problem basically solves the block, and the block contains a reward. Okay. The block also contains a bunch of user transactions. So essentially, the miner is rewarded for securing user transactions into the blockchain.
Okay.
Right. And the rate that they're rewarded at is determined based on whatever the protocol dictates. So, for example, like the amount of rewards on the Litecoin network would be different from the Bitcoin network, which is different from other proof of work networks, right? In Bitcoin's case, the rewards over time become fewer and fewer. So over time, there's less and less Bitcoin that can be mined in the same given time period, which makes it, harder to mine. Means there's less of it out there, which means the value of it should go up, providing people seek it or want it, right?
Right. It's kind of like if you've got a mine at first when you first start. If you find a good mine, you're picking up gold and silver basically off the top. But the more you're going down and down and down, usually the mine starts running dry. Is that the kind of the same concept with the Bitcoin?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah, it's programmed in a way to, I guess you could call it programmable scarcity, where over time it becomes more and more scarce. So it becomes harder to mine. And because of that, the miners are getting less and less over time. Actually, the protocol dictates over time, they're going to get less and less. And because of that, there's less in circulation, and they're more sought. If they're sought after, they will maintain their value that way. I
okay,
think that's the whole concept behind it anyway.
right. That makes sense because you are creating you're programming a scarcity of the coin. So that, and
Mhm.
I get what you're saying that by if you're doing that, that if the coin does take off, as in Bitcoin's case, I think if I'm correct me if I'm wrong at any point, but Bitcoin kind of resets their mine every 4 years, and that every time they do that, you're getting less and less Bitcoin in those mines, which is should drive the value up of a Bitcoin. Am I correct or am I way off on that?
No, that's right. So I believe it's every 4 years, the Bitcoin reward cuts in half,
Wow.
right? So every 4 years is half of amount of Bitcoin that can be mined, right? And there's only one Bitcoin mine. There's not multiple Bitcoin mines. I guess there could be if you compare like Bitcoin Cash or some of these other off breed of Bitcoin, which actually aren't really Bitcoin. They have their own separate mines that people are mining. But true Bitcoin, BTC, the original, I guess, protocol that's been built on that was came out by Satoshi back in 2009. That's the mine everybody's trying to mine Bitcoin from. And as more people participate, it gets harder, obviously, for those people to find those Bitcoins. And as time goes on, the protocol is saying, well, there's less and less Bitcoins to actually mine here,
Wow.
making the ones left more scarce, more
Okay,
valuable.
right. And then if I'm to understand this, then is that the scarcer the coins get, do you need more computing power, more banks of computers to start mining the because it's getting more rare? Like, is it you need more processing power? Like, I'm really fumbling around here, Paul. So you got to kind of walk
You
me.
don't. Um, Bitcoins aren't becoming more rare. It's just there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoins, right?
Okay.
So it's not like there's next year there'll be 20 million, and the year after that there'll be 19 million. That's not the way it works. There's 21 million in the total circulation pool. It's just all 21 million have not been mined yet,
Okay.
right? So every block that's mined, a miner will receive a reward, but not all blocks have been mined yet. And in fact, they won't. They won't ever be mined until the Bitcoin network ceases to exist, which likely will not happen for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Okay.
Everybody on the Bitcoin network needs to stop participating for that to happen, which is highly unlikely at this point.
Right, right, right. Okay, I understand that what you're saying. So now, so as we kind of in the one of our previous episodes, we were kind of talking about what you need to mine Bitcoin, and what I want to, I would assume that you're going to recommend that if somebody like me that just has a laptop or somebody that has a home computer that's you're just run of the mill, or even maybe one that's souped up, the if you think you're just going to go and start mining Bitcoin, it's your chances of finding one. I think you once told me that you probably have a better chance of winning the lotto. Am I correct when you say that?
Yeah, so basically, because so many other people are mining Bitcoin, the network difficulty, the I guess the geez, what's the word I'm looking for here? the complexity of solving a block is so complex now because so many people are trying to mine. The network adjusts its difficulty to basically ensure that the same amount of bitcoins are coming out at the right given time, right?
Okay.
So the network will adjust its difficulty level to make it harder to extract these bitcoins from the network over time. As more people participate, it gets harder and harder to crack a block.
Okay.
If,
Okay.
for example, less people were to participate on the Bitcoin network, not maybe less people, but less processing power, um, less people trying to solve the block to get that reward, then the network difficulty will decrease over time and make it easier for people to solve the block. And this is all to try to keep blocks coming out or being solved within a roughly like a 10-minute time period. So like every 10 minutes, there's a new block being solved. But it's not exactly every 10 minutes. It could be one block is solved and like, a minute later, the next one is magically found and solved by the next mine.
Oh,
But
wow.
there's a difficulty level that adjusts based on how many people are mining that tries to keep it in that 10-minute interval.
Okay, I see. I see. Okay.
So that's predictable. Like every block should be roughly about 10 minutes based on how many people are mining, based on how much computational power is trying to solve a block, right?
Right, right.
Otherwise, you'd have people mining a block in a second, people mining a block in 10 minutes, another block coming out in 20 seconds, and so on, right? So yeah, the network's programmed in a way to make it more difficult as more people participate, meaning making it harder to extract this rare digital artifact, meaning the rare digital artifact costs more because anything that costs you a lot to fabricate or create would sell for a higher value, obviously, than something that is easy to
Right.
engineer or fabricate or create, right? So when you waste, let's say, thousands of dollars in power to try to crack a block on the Bitcoin network, you're not going to sell the Bitcoin you find for less than the amount it costs you to mine,
Right.
right?
Right.
So if it gets harder and harder over time to mine it, well, then it becomes more difficult. Thus, people need to use more power. They need higher powered computers. And because people are investing in, warehouses full of computers, they're not just going to give these bitcoins away for free, or the Litecoins away for
Mm-hmm.
free, or the Doge coins away for free, because they've spent money initially trying to harvest them from the network.
That makes total sense the way you just explained that. Thank you. And so now you were also saying that you don't necessarily have to mine any coin that's mineable by yourself. You were kind of explaining to me, and kind of where we left off in our conversation off camera, was that you can actually join a mining group. I'm not sure the technical term, so forgive me, but you can actually join a group of people that have computers. So you're taking all your computer's power, putting it into one chunk, and then you can mine that way. Can you kind of explain that? Because I think that's actually pretty cool and something that maybe some of our listeners could actually participate in.
Yeah, totally. So anybody can mine Bitcoin. You don't need to be a guy who owns a warehouse full of computers and free electricity. It's just your chances of mining Bitcoin on your laptop or your home computer, your gaming machine, are slim to none, because you're just never going to solve that block. You're never going to earn that reward, right? So if you're not going to earn the reward solo mining, which is on your own in your
Mm-hmm.
basement on your computer, you might want to join a pool, which is a group of people who are collectively putting their GPU power together, or their CPU power together. Excuse me one minute.
Not a problem.
And basically combining their hash power or their processing power and collectively working to solve a block together. And when the pool solves a block, the reward is issued to everybody who's participating on the pool based on basically the amount of proportional power they're offering to that pool. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on here.
Don't apologize, Paul. It's dry, man. It's winter. It's coming winter here, so.
I just ate right before this, so I think I got some stuff in my throat here. Anyway, okay, I'm all right. I'm on the beach here, so I'm
Yeah, I
good.
know. I was just looking. I'm jealous here. You're on the beach. Gonna go for a swim when we're done. So yeah, go ahead. Where were you left off? We were talking
Too many
about.
martinis, man. I'm
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I'm there for you, man. I'd be there with you. But yeah, so
So
go ahead.
yeah, like you nailed it on the head. You can join a group of people, you can combine your power together and then try to mine Bitcoin, and you will be issued the Bitcoin or whatever it is you're mining based on your power proportional to like what you're devoting to that pool.
That's really cool. And are those pools? I mean, I'm sure we I know we can't get into it this show, but maybe next episode if people are interested. Can you are those pools hard to find? So if I want to find a pool for any coin, are they hard to find? Do you have to do a little bit of research, or is it?
Generally, you'd probably want to hit up like one of the forums related to that coin and really kind of research it. Make sure the pool you're dedicating your processing power to isn't like a scam or something like that. Where let's say the pool operator, yeah, you're all devoting your hash power to this pool, but maybe the pool operator is illegitimate and yeah, your pool's earning Bitcoin, but then the pool operator just disappears and keeps all the Bitcoin, right?
Okay, so as you
Um,
always say, do your own research and
do your
before
own
you jump right
research.
in.
I haven't mined Bitcoin in so long. I would not be a good source at this point to tell you like what pool to mine on. But a simple Google search and a little bit of research, I'm sure you can, find the way.
Okay, perfect. Right, and that's what you've always said from episode one that we've done is that you have to do your own research. Don't take any one person's word and just run with it. You have to actually do some research, and that's what you've always told me too. Is you can give advice, you can kind of lead somebody in the right direction, but you have to do your own research when you get into this. And I find it very interesting when I do my own research because I find that's where you do a lot of your learning and kind of feeling your way through it. Now, let's kind of go away from the Bitcoin for a second because we all know Bitcoin, we know it's a huge coin. Now, if is there lesser known coins out there that are easier for people to mine that that a normal computer could do, like a coin that's barely known, and they just said they could do it with their own laptop because it's not such a big coin
Yeah,
yet.
yeah, so like another proof of work coin, right? So proof of work is the consensus mechanism, the way basically all transactions are put in this block, the block's discovered. It's based on computational work, right?
Hmm.
So there are other proof of work cryptocurrencies or proof of work blockchains out there. For example, like Litecoin is another proof of work chain, right? Litecoin was extremely popular, kind of running in parallel with Bitcoin up until like a year or so. Dogecoin is proof of work, people mine it,
Right, I've heard
right?
of that one. Yep.
So, people back 4 years ago mining Dogecoin made out really well this year because Dogecoin got pumped up to, I don't know, like a buck each or something like that.
Yeah, you're right.
And had you been mining Dogecoin 4 years ago, you likely would have mined maybe a couple thousand, a significant amount of them that it probably would have benefited you in some way, shape, or form,
Right, right.
right? So the trick would be, I guess, if you're going to solo mine or use your laptop or your desktop, would be like research some unknown altcoin. There's thousands of them. You can find them on coinmarketcap.com. Scroll down like beyond the top 1,000. Try to find a few that are mineable, that are proof of work, so you can mine them. And because they're not really known, you might be able to stick your video card on them or even your CPU and just solo mine it and overnight earn who knows how many thousands of these tokens. And they may not amount to anything, but they could amount in Litecoin's case to a significant amount.
Right. And
And
there's no way to
really,
there's no way to know which one's going to take off, right? That's the gamble that we're all taking.
yeah, totally. I mean, if you do enough research, you the way I do it is, if you believe in it, and it sounds obviously like something that will take off or be around for a while, then yeah, maybe pay some attention to it and devote your processing power to it and try to mine some passively, maybe even overnight. But if you don't research it, you don't know anything about it, and you're just mining some altcoin and you're just hoping for the best. I mean, your chances of that coin going up are probably less than one in 100, because there's just so many. I don't want to call them scam coins, but like just unknown coins that just like disappear within
Right.
6 months to a year, right? And so then you're just left holding a bunch of unknown cryptocurrency tokens for who knows what coin, and they're just useless at that point, right?
Right. Yeah. No, that makes total sense. I totally understand. And I was really surprised when you got me looking at cryptocurrency when we first met that there is so many different tokens out there. And I thought there might be like 10 or 100 or something like that. And then when you showed me the list, there's thousands of different coins out there. It's really, when you don't realize it, like when you first see it, you're like, wow, there's a lot of different coins out there. So
Yeah,
I
that
get what you're
list
saying.
on CoinMarketCap, that's not a complete list of all the cryptocurrencies out there. Those are just the ones that are being indexed on CoinMarketCap.
Oh, wow.
I would say there's at least probably 4 to 10 times that amount of cryptocurrencies like actually out there. They're just not indexed on CoinMarketCap.
Wow. Okay. That's really high. That's
Not every coin can index on CoinMarketCap. There is criteria that a coin developer has to meet
That was
to
going
be
to be my
listed
next
on CoinMarketCap.
question. That was going to be my next questions. Can I make a coin? Can I just, like CryptRick coins, I make 10,000 of them and then I
Mhm.
want to start trying to make them worth money. Is it that easy?
I, yes, kind of. I mean, if you're good at coding, it would be easy to just copy some other coin's codes, any open source coin. For example, like Bitcoin's code, you could go to the Bitcoin repository and fork it and create your own version of Bitcoin. And in fact, many people have done that, which is why there's many different versions of Bitcoin out there.
Okay.
So you could create a version of Bitcoin where you just copy all of Bitcoin's code and you change some of the values, like maybe instead of like 21 million Bitcoins, you have like 41 million RIC tokens or whatever, right? And
Right,
you can
right.
customize it. And then you can relaunch it. You can just call it, instead of Bitcoin and having a yellow logo, you can call it Crypt Rick, and it can all be looking like, cool tattoos or whatever,
Right,
right?
right, right.
So, but the problem with that is you need a community to mine it to secure the network, because the
Okay.
miners secure the network. The miners are the ones that secure the transactions on the blockchain, right? So without the miners, the network's not secure. So how do you launch Crypt token and then convince a whole bunch of people to mine it to keep it secure? Uh,
That's a
that
good
would be
question.
that would be the tricky part. And then, maybe the answer is, well, maybe your token's not mineable. Maybe it's stakeable, which is proof of stake, which is a completely different
That's my
consensus
next
mechanism.
question. That's my next question. So we're leading right into it. So can you explain to people this is another way that you can another form I don't I see I'm very struggling here with the terminology. So if I'm ever wrong, Paul, please I put me in my place. I'm fine with that. So
No worries.
so staking is another form of a coin, am I correct? It's a form of a coin, am I correct?
It's proof of stake is a consensus mechanism, just like proof of work. So
Okay,
it's
cool.
almost like a different protocol in a way, right? So one way proof of work, you're using like computational power to solve a block to earn a reward from a blockchain. That's Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, and thousands of others, right?
Okay.
Proof of stake, you're not using any computational effort out of your GPU or your CPU. What you're using is your stake on the network, your shares on the network, or your ownership in that network to passively generate you more tokens.
Okay, so these
Right?
ones are not mined. Like the you can't mine these ones. These this is a
They may initially be mined. So you can have a proof of stake network that initially was a proof of work network, and that's
okay.
how the distribution happened, where people were initially mining it, but then at some point it converted to proof of stake. Um, that can happen. That is feasible. In fact, a lot of blockchain networks do exist in that manner. For example, Ethereum right now is proof of work, but trying to move into this proof of stake architecture,
Okay.
right? So it's very reasonable for a coin to be proof of stake, sorry, proof of work originally, but then migrate into this new kind of proof, what they call proof of stake mechanism, right? The difference being is, like, again, one's not using a whole bunch of electricity and processing power or graphical GPU power. It's just using your shares on the network to dictate how much rewards you should get, essentially, or how likely you are to solve the next block. So, for example, if I came in and I bought, like, let's say 90% of the shares on some unknown network and it was proof of stake, well, I'd have a 90% chance to solve the block each and every time, which would be very good for me, but not so good for the rest of the network.
Right, right.
Nobody else would be able to get it. In fact, nobody would want to participate on that network, because if I were solving every block consecutively, one after another, I would potentially have the chance to, I guess, hack the network or convert things in my favor,
Okay.
because I'd have primary consensus. I'd actually have 90% of, like, the voting power, right? Which in a decentralized system doesn't make sense. Like, the whole point of this is everybody has kind of like equal or fair kind of rights, right? Like, everybody can participate, but also everybody has the same amount of chance to earn from this, right?
Right, right. So my question, I kind of have a question here, if I'm understanding you correctly. They're trying to keep it fair, and you're saying that, is there a protocol in the code? I'm trying to word this right. That, so say, like, I know what you're saying, that you can't have like 90% of the stake, because then you're tipping the favor and you're getting most of the reward. Is there a protocol in there so that somebody can't get over a certain amount? Like, I'm trying to word it in a way that makes you're like, I know for you, you're probably thinking, what is he talking about? But what my question is, I'll make it simple, and then maybe you can work around it. Say I want to spend $100,000 on staking a coin, and, like, what are the protocols in, so that so people don't get that advantage and get 90% of the reward? Like, is like, that's, do you kind of know what I mean with that?
Yeah. I mean, there really isn't in a lot of cases. I mean, a big company might come in and purchase a large stash of proof of stake chain and own over 50% of it,
Okay.
which would not be a good situation, I guess, for that blockchain to be in. If it was like a supposed to be a fully decentralized blockchain, right? Like, you kind of want kind of equal participants, or at least the vast majority of the coinage, not just in one person's control,
Right,
right?
right.
Um, See, in Bitcoin's case, you don't want one person to have over 50% of the hashing power. You don't want one mining pool to be solving every block consecutively, because
Mm-hmm.
they could essentially um, create artificial transactions even in the blockchain and then have them secured in the chain, right? So potentially they could, like, double spend a transaction. They could spend a transaction twice and say it was legitimate, and then secure that in the blockchain, because they have basically more voting power to do that,
Right, right.
right? But there's kind of like consensus among all the bigger Bitcoin pools, to not allow that to happen, to not allow one pool to grow excessively. So basically, the community is saying, like, as a pool is growing too large, the community just stops participating on that pool and starts devoting their power to other pools,
Oh,
so
okay,
that
I see.
they can all kind of be on more equal playing grounds. Because nobody wants one pool to get 100% of the capability to sell blocks on the Bitcoin network, because that means that pool operator then owns the Bitcoin network.
Right, right.
You're the
That's what I
only
was
one
trying to explain.
securing, right? Yeah, so you have, like, everybody in a Bitcoin, especially the pool operators, like, they know, like, let's keep it basically fair, and if there's any issues, well, let's start getting people to devote their hash power to other pools.
That's really cool. So they're kind of, they're regulating themselves, correct? Like, this is a they're
Self-regulation, yeah, exactly. Crypto doesn't need third-party regulation, and the whole thing regulates itself because it's all peer-to-peer. So not only that, there's a protocol which dictates how you can even interface or interact with people on the protocol. You can't break the rules of Bitcoin or you're just ignored. So you don't
Wow.
need all this oversight or like third-party regulation in my opinion anyway, because it's really unnecessary. In fact, these new technologies like blockchain, which is like peer-to-peer consensus, make a lot of traditional ways of doing things like just completely obsolete. So a lot of these old regulatory bodies who regulate, let's say, like traditional financial markets, well, they have no bearing in decentralized peer-to-peer system that doesn't run through a third party. It doesn't
Okay.
run through a centralized institution. It runs among the community willing to agree to what the protocol's saying and just abiding by those rules.
Right, and that's what's really cool about that is that everybody has to agree to those protocols because it's a system that runs on everybody kind of getting along, like making it work is what I'm trying to say. Like,
Everybody runs the same code. And by doing that, you're all speaking the same language, right?
wow, okay.
And because you're all speaking the same language, well, you can all communicate with each other. You can all send cryptocurrency between each other, right? And the language on the Bitcoin network is the Bitcoin protocol. The language on, like, let's say the Dogecoin network would be how the Dogecoin protocol is programmed, and
Wow.
so on. Like every blockchain essentially has its own way of kind of interacting with peers.
That's really interesting now that you're breaking it down like that. And now for somebody that's staking, what just so I can kind of break it down for the people watching, if the more is from what I'm gathering, the more money you invest in buying tokens and coins, if you're staking them, you kind of make more money passively as time goes on. Am I correct on my on when I say that?
Potentially, I mean, again, what is money, right? So you're not, if you're, let's say you're staking some coin and you're earning more and more of them over time,
Mm-hmm.
are those coins worth anything of any monetary value? If not, well, then you're not going to be making any money per se. You're just generating these coins in your pocket that
Okay, I
maybe
get
are
what you're saying. I get what you're
that might
saying.
be that might be useless, right? Now, generally, if you're staking a coin where there's a larger community and people are actually using that coin amongst each other to transmit value and to purchase goods and services or paying contractors and so on, if you buy a large pool of those coins, then yeah, if it's a proof of stake network, you can generate more of those coins just passively. So kind of like you're mining them basically in your pocket or on your laptop or wherever it might be you're staking them,
Okay,
right?
that's really cool. And now does how often do you like is it a daily if you have a large stake in a coin and you're generating passively more tokens, is that a daily thing or a monthly thing or how does that go? Like when that you'll
So
see your
that's all dictated by the protocol again. So, whoever the developers are, that blockchain would dictate at the beginning how many new tokens can be generated in any given time period, right?
okay.
So basically, it boils down to like how much rewards are going to come out of this block when it's solved, and it'll either be solved by some computational work or it'll be solved with using some mathematical algorithm based on somebody's stake in the network.
Okay, I see. And now this is kind of a question that I have is can every cryptocurrency or token or coin, whatever people want to call it, um, can any coin be staked, or is there only specific coins that can be staked and some that can be mined? Is it a hard line in the middle? Like, is there or can any coin be staked?
Not all coins can be staked. Only certain coins can be staked. Only proof of stake based coins can be staked.
Okay,
Or yeah, yeah, proof of stake based coins can be staked. There's a few other blockchain technologies out there. One of them is, I believe, Hashgraph, which I don't know if they call it staking. It might have another term, but the concept is the same. Likewise, there's a blockchain network I'm very familiar with called the Ardor platform. And on Ardor, they don't have staking. It's called forging. It's like a modified staking protocol, but the concept is the same. The more ardor you hold, the more likely you are to solve a block. And if you solve the block, you get a reward. In Ardor's case, the block reward is composed of fees from all the user transactions on the network that are in that block. So you're
Okay.
literally kind of passively earning crypto by securing other users' transactions into the blockchain, and you're earning fees from all their transactions.
Okay, that's really a cool way of doing it too. Like they really think of a lot of cool. I find it fascinating. I really do because it's a self-contained system. Like that's my terminology. Like as I was
Yeah,
saying just a few minutes ago.
cryptocurrency, crypto is its own ecosystem.
That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you.
It's a crypto economy, right? And there's a lot to it. There's a lot going on, and it may look kind of very confusing, especially as an outsider looking at it. And all you got 10,000 coins and proof of work and proof of stake and this and that, right? So, yeah, there is a lot to it, but it all comes down to just again doing a bit of research and just learning about it, right? Like if you're interested in it, just research it, and yeah, if you learn about it, you can earn passive revenue in the token economy.
Right. That's what I'm hoping to do eventually. As you know, I like the Atom coin, and I do know that that's a stakeable coin. That if I keep getting more and more, I mean, I'm assuming that I could, even if I only had say 10 Atom coins, I could stake those 10 coins. But you're saying the return for that would be so small that you kind of need a large amount of coins, right, to make it kind of
Yeah,
worthwhile
like
staking.
exactly. You would want a larger share in the network so that you're earning more over time.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the amount you will earn is going to be based on your holdings in that network. So by only holding 10, it's not significant at all. It's probably like point, who knows how many zeros, 1% of the ownership of the network. So like realistically, you're probably not never going to earn a reward. Well, you will, but so much time will have passed before you earn it that it's just like won't be worth it, right?
Right, right. So the more you definitely if you want to go the way of staking, it's always good to have more invested because the more you invest, the more reward you're going to get down the road. Hopefully, that's the idea of it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and the other thing with staking, I guess, to be mindful of is as people are coming in and buying these tokens up to hold them, to stake them, these people staking them are now holding them off the market, meaning they're not going to sell them, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So that in itself, these proof of stake networks provide incentive to hold the cryptocurrency rather than just like buy it and sell it, right? The more you have of it, the more you can generate. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there just buying tons of them just to have passive income generators in their pocket.
Right. And that's smart. That's a really smart way to look at it too. And I find it like that's what I've been. That's one of the things that I thought was really cool about cryptocurrency too. Is that and the more I'm researching, is that people are like they're not. It's not like money where you're constantly getting rid of it. Like you're making your money and then you're getting rid of it. I find people with crypto, at least from what I've learned so far, is that a lot of people hang on to their crypto. Like you want to hang on to it. And I think that's the whole trick of cryptocurrency is like say you get a coin that you buy for $1. I'm just throwing out a number, $1 a coin, and then one day it's $1,000 a coin. You don't know whether to sell it or if it's going to keep going up. That's the trick of this whole game, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the people I know don't really ever sell their Bitcoin ever,
Right,
right?
right.
So they're just accumulating, and Bitcoin is kind of like their reserve currency. Like, why would you sell your Bitcoin, which is an appreciating valued asset, when you could spend your, let's say, Canadian dollars, which are obviously depreciating in value every year, right?
Exactly.
So there's definitely a trend, especially in like crypto economics, to what they call hold or hodl,
Hold on.
HODL, right? Hodl. Yeah, because the minute you sell, the trend is price might go down for a bit, and the value might go down for a bit, but it eventually goes back up, and then you're just kind of left behind. So you might actually in the future have to buy in at a much higher price.
Right. And that probably happens way more than people realize. I'm sure it's even happened to you where you probably
Any
had
time
coins.
I've sold a crypto coin, at least some of the popular ones, I have lost value.
Wow. So
Yeah.
that's the whole. You, that's why you want to hang on to them. I mean, right? Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Anybody I know that was into crypto when I was back way when, much regrets.
Oh no,
Like,
yeah. I mean, I have regrets that I didn't
like
invest.
yeah, there's people sell and they get left behind. That's all I can say.
Wow.
So the trick is to learn from that and not sell. And I think I guess like a lot of old crypto nerds have learned from that. But I guess for the newbies coming into the scene, just know like um, me personally, I know people that they're not using Canadian dollar, they're not using the US dollar, they're not using any government money, they're using cryptocurrencies between each other to pay each other
Hmm.
and to buy products and services. And the trend is they want to hold these cryptocurrencies. They're not wanting to sell them back out for Canadian dollars, right?
I see. I see. So it's their own little. Let me put the right
So
words on
it's like
this.
its own little contained ecosystem, and yeah,
Right.
you can hop out of it and go back into regular debt land if you want, but you really got to question after doing that for so long, like what's the point?
Right. And I think that's really cool how you said that people in the community of crypto, they want to keep it in that ecosystem. So, if you both say, you have Adam and I have Adam, and I that's something a coin I want, and I want to purchase a service from you. I can say, well, how many Adam would that cost? And then we skip the whole paper money thing, and me and you were dealing directly with each other,
Yeah.
exchanging Adam, which to us has value, which in turn has value on the market. Make
Not only are we exchanging something of value between each other without the need for some other person to be involved, we're also, as we're exchanging that value between each other, rewarding somebody else on our network who is securing our transaction, some other who knows who, some other community member for participating to help secure the transaction to make sure it legitimately came from me to you and actually existed in the first place. So it doesn't benefit, let's say, like a big corporate institution to have this set up. It actually benefits somebody in the community to
wow.
use this new system, right?
That's incredible. I mean, that's gonna be a great show topic. I think we should do next week is talking about this whole ecosystem because it's fascinating, and I mean I'm really getting excited now as we're getting deeper into this. I mean, it's great learning about the basics, but there's so much more to cryptocurrency and how it works and all the different gears of it that I think it's going to get really interesting when we start getting a little deeper. And I found this episode very interesting, Paul. Thank you. I know you're running a bit. You're busy. I'm going to let you go. I'm thankful
I'm
for
on
the
the
time.
beach. I'm not too busy, dude.
Well, I know.
No.
Yeah, I'm trying to sell it like you're busy, but yeah, I know you want to go for a swim and have a drink. I don't
Let
blame
me
you.
just jump in the waves here. I'll be okay.
Well, yeah, no doubt. But no, I really appreciate you for coming every week and talking about this. I think it's going to be something that more and more people are going to need to learn about in the future, and I think it's a great way to start is right from the basics. So I really want to thank you, Paul, every week coming here and for coming today and taking a little bit of time out of your day to kind of help educate all of us. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you next week, actually. So you have a great day, and I'm gonna let you get back to your. No, I know you're busy, as I said, so I'll let you go, and
Going
then
to suntan.
you're going to have a suntan and a drink. I know, but I'm selling it as you're busy. So,
All right.
all right, and then I'll have you here next week for sure with any questions that any of my viewers have. I'll definitely run those by you too.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me again, Rick.
You're very
Yeah,
welcome, and I
appreciate
will
it.
definitely see you next week. Enjoy yourself on the beach, my friend.
All right. See you later,
Take
buddy.
care, brother. There you have it. What I so enjoy talking to Paul about cryptocurrency. I find it fascinating. I really do. I think it's such a very cool topic where when we get talking and I learn more and more, and the more I do my own research and stuff like that, I find it extremely interesting how so what a great way that Paul put it, to have it it's its own controlled ecosystem. I think that is a great way to describe it, and he's 100% correct too, because it really is its own ecosystem, and I love that terminology. That really uh makes it really simplifies it when you think about that. And the whole cryptocurrency is its own self-contained unit where everybody, and it's what's cool about it is everybody's making it work together. They agree on the rules, and it's more fair that way, I find, and they're all kind of making this whole ecosystem run, and it takes the participation of everybody in it, no matter how small. I mean, you got the big players, of course, like in everything else in the world, and then you have, the people like me that are just getting into it and learning. But I think that's a great terminology for it that I'm going to start using. Its own ecosystem. And I, once again, really want to thank you, Paul, for coming once a week and talking cryptocurrency. I think it's a great topic, and I think a lot of people are scared of it because it seems very intimidating. And let's be honest, it is intimidating at first when you start getting into it. At least in my case, I've thought that. I definitely thought it was intimidating when I first got involved with it. So I definitely let me just give me one sec here. I got screens flicking over here at me, guys. So there we go. That's better. So as I was saying, I just found it very, very intimidating at first. And as you learn more and more about it, it does start to become a lot easier, actually. And I find it really interesting. So I hope you guys are taking a lot out of these interviews with Paul. Every week, we're going to get a little bit more in depth and cover a different topic about cryptocurrency, different aspects of it. And, you watch every episode, it's going to build on that last episode, and it's going to, you put them all together, you're going to be a lot further ahead than you were before you watched the episodes, that's for sure. And he breaks it down in a great way, and I try to always tell him, try to keep it as simple as we can for as long as we can. I know once more episodes get going, eventually we're going to be getting into some topics that, and some discussions that are a little more, they're harder to explain because we're going really in depth then. But I do look forward to it every week. And this was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. I loved learning about staking, the difference, and then in mining and what it takes. I think it's really cool. And I hope you're enjoying these too. I really do. And I appreciate and enjoy doing this, and I really appreciate having you guys come and join me and sit back and for an hour, a couple hours sometimes, and just have a little fun and learn something. So if you're enjoying these videos, please, take the time, maybe like, subscribe, that's what they tell me to say, hit the notification button, all that good stuff, share it, and that would be really cool. I mean, I think that'd be awesome, if I can get a few subscribers, and I'm trying to build this up and make it a great community. So I really do appreciate all of you taking the time to join me today. Have yourself a great day, great evening, and I'm definitely going to be back with some more great interviews on different topics, and I hope to see you there, guys. So have yourself a great day, great evening, and I'll be seeing you shortly. Take care, everyone.